Hello, everyone.
Hi, are we on time today?
We are on time, right at
Oh,
7.
the last few times we've been late to our own party, as I say.
Tommy.
Because I'm here to pull the boys together. You're welcome, fans.
Something that I did not realize until Aaron brought it to my attention, and then I saw you tag me in something, Jess, was that today Beverly Hills 90210 premiered 31 years ago.
Oh my God.
So,
That's right.
31
how
years.
perfect
Oh my
isn't it?
God.
So that means this episode that we're covering tonight aired 30 years ago. Still a long
Oh,
time ago.
Oh my
that
goodness. It's
hurts.
crazy.
Hurts.
Because I remember,
But
when I started watching 90210, it had been on years. So I felt like it was this just show that's been on forever. I mean, as a kid. So,
Yeah.
I probably started watching maybe 6 months after this aired because I started watching the summer in between season 2 and 3. So I'm old.
But you weren't allowed to watch it. Nana didn't know you were watching it. Let's make that clear. He
No.
broke the rules.
all I
Fans.
can
He
picture
broke
is
the rules.
Tommy having a little TV box, sheet over his head, and just watching 90210. Like, instead of reading a book, just watching the scandalous lives of California's elite.
Oh, I'm sure that's exactly how it happened.
No, what I used to do was I used to put a VHS and I would hit record, and then I'd get up at 5 a.m. and watch it the next day until
See,
I turned 10. And I got a TV in my room, and then it was over. I watched anything I wanted.
That's work. that is dedication.
Yeah, it is.
I don't
We
want
like
to be
your
told I
style.
told you something. Don't tell me no.
Not much has changed.
But
Yeah, still a
all right,
brat.
so I guess we could roll the credits and get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to Queers and Soaps. We are joined once again by my best friend Jessica. Hi Jess.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming back.
We're covering Beverly Hills 90210 again, so obviously Jessica had to come back.
We did.
Unfortunately, it's still the Brenda years.
Which I love them. I love the Brenda years.
Okay, well, that's why he's laughing, because if you had asked me if I would be on this podcast during the Brenda years, he would have automatically assumed I'd be like, absolutely not. I hate the Brenda years. Hate them. Hate them.
Well, originally we were going to just cover like a bunch of Halloween episodes from each show that we're covering, but then I was like, why would we do that? We need content for next year. So we were like, let's just do one per season. And I want to apologize because I led Jessica down the wrong path. I told her it was episode 12 of season 2 and season 13.
Yeah. He was setting me up to look like a fool during the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I was probably a good 10 minutes into the episode when I was like, what does this have to do with Halloween? Like, no, thank you. I was
sorry. That was funny.
So the episode starts, obviously, theme song, amazing.
Yes. I'm so glad they pretty much kept it 2 through 10 the same. They just changed up the look.
It got a little bit less rock heavy towards the end. Like they had different versions of it.
Oh.
So the episode opens with Brandon, I almost called him Brendan, and Andrea. And I think that's the only scene we see Andrea in, right?
I was about to say that's the only time. It's the only time we see her. She's carving the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the episode kind of started. I feel like it had a Halloween, the movie vibe, when it was showing the pumpkin.
With the pumpkins.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do the same, but just that kind of opening.
Did Andrea say what she was doing?
I felt like the music in the background sounded very, I don't know if you guys are, well, I'm sure Thomas remembers. I don't know. Remember like Disney's Halloween treats? That TV. Okay, the music in the background sounded like the Disney's Halloween treats. So it was taking me a whole like nostalgia, like going back to like, the late 80s, having a great time.
Emily Valentine's around. I forgot about that.
I forgot how much I like her.
Hate
I
her.
liked her too.
Okay, well, during this episode, because I don't remember a lot of her, but I remember this one, I was like, I like you. Why wasn't you around longer?
I had the
Are we
I
allowed
like
to
you
discuss
moment
the
too.
future?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
fine.
could discuss it.
Okay, well, I didn't know, so this
Yeah.
is like when I started talking about the non-Brenda years, and I was shut down immediately.
And Thomas was like, no.
Because like Emily, like roofied Brandon, right? Isn't that what happened eventually?
Yeah, in like 2 episodes.
Oh,
like,
yeah. She also, didn't she go a little...
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
crazy.
the next episode, Scott dies, and then the episode after that, they go to a rave,
God.
and then the episode after that, she sets the float on fire.
I thought he didn't die till later on, the end of the season.
No.
Huh.
No, he died mid-season.
Yeah, no, they like mess with us like pretty early in the season, just totally mess with our emotions. Poor Scott.
Of course. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
I felt like Brian Austin's green voice was definitely going through the change at this point.
Oh yeah. I caught that a couple times too.
I remember watching, I was like, man, I forgot how much he just really changes from like those first 4 seasons to 5 through 10, where you're like, whoa. Valerie.
Well, even from season 1 to this, he had a growth spurt.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like character wise. After he gets involved with Valerie, he kind of goes, whoo.
We're not talking about Valerie yet.
You said we could talk about whatever.
Do you see how the rules change and there's no warning?
I know.
I did not say whatever. I said Emily Valentine because Emily Valentine is in the Brenda years.
Ooh.
I'm not going to go through this
watched,
every fucking time.
I watched the episode on Sunday night, and then last night I was watching Dancing with the Stars, and Brian Austin Green's on it right now, and I was like, who could imagine? He was like this little, like, dorky kid, and now he's just
This
like
is
this
not
handsome man.
the episode that we watch is not the version of David that you have a crush on.
No, he's a child. Get out of here.
Well, you were also a child, so I just
I
wanted to know.
was going to say, when you would have been a lot, you were younger than him, so.
I know something about David Silver, like in the first couple seasons, though. I can't put myself back in like childhood Jessica mindset. Like, there's other things I could watch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I loved him, and whatever. But something about David Silver as a child, can't do it. No, I like definitely liked him during the Val years. Definitely loved him then.
We're not talking about that.
We're not allowed to talk about that.
Thank you.
So are we just jumping around? Because I don't want to forget this about this episode. My favorite part about the whole episode.
Sure, we could jump around.
I love Donna Martin. Oh, her being all like just goof. She just does Goofy so well. In those first few years. When she's like, the whole episode is pretty much just her.
Yeah, squirming around, just yeah.
Like, could you imagine getting paid just to squirm? Like, that's. I did like the meaning of like when Steve was like, "Just be yourself." That was kind of the Buffy episode that we watched, where it was like about being yourself. It's only that they take Halloween and use that as a metaphor when we're trying to be someone else to actually be yourself.
Yeah, I thought that was. I actually was really loving on Steve in this episode.
I was too.
I was just like, oh, that was really sweet of him, and I was kind of like,
I love her.
Yeah, when he's like, I love that girl, and I was just like
that's
Steve.
that's the one line that I remembered from this episode. I'm like, I know he punches him, and it's like, I love that girl.
Well, it made me think too. Why didn't they date anymore? They didn't really date a lot.
They dated, I think, before the show. Didn't they, like, before the series picked up? It was like, they said that was his ex. But, I mean, Steve definitely tried for a while. But
okay, because he seems like he just still loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he actually finally gives up until Valerie shows up. because when he finds out about Brandon and Kelly, that's like his last like attempt. Because I think when Celeste dumps him, he comes back to like California and he's convinced Kelly's the great love of his life, and then he finds out about Brandon and Kelly, and then that's it.
Oh, Celeste! I forgot about Celeste.
Yeah, I don't really remember Celeste so much. I remember how Celeste happens with the game show, but I don't really remember. I feel like Steve cheated on her a lot.
And I'm just sitting here going, Celeste.
I liked her, and I liked her, but I don't know why she's not more memorable. Like I can't recall like one like Celeste scene, but I know I liked her. So
I think she went to prom with them. I'm not sure.
She may have.
But anyway, back to this episode.
Sorry.
So when he was being nice to Donna and he kissed her on the forehead, I was like, oh, they actually kind of had chemistry. I wonder why they never tried that.
Because of Aaron. He was like keeping her all locked up. Like he didn't want her to have like love scenes and stuff. I thought I read like.
No, I think you're right. Like that's why she was a virgin all 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because
no, she gave it up in season 7.
Yeah, remember she pulled out the condom because you waited.
I thought they did it. I thought they didn't do it though. I thought she was all 10 years. Huh.
No. After college graduation, she finally was like, all right, let's get it.
I mean, look at college David Silver. Come on.
Could you imagine if she finally just said, Dad, everyone's making fun of me. Just let my character have sex. Come on.
I mean, I feel like you just paraphrased the actual conversation.
I mean, I do too. Yeah.
Like,
she's like, I'm 31 years old.
Let me have a love scene, damn it. Oh, good time.
Yeah, because this was pre David and Donna. I feel like there's episodes before this where they're kind of alluding to something, like they're becoming friendly, but she's still not hanging around him too much. I think mid to late season 2 is when they get together.
Oh, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just like cut you right off. So the guys who blew off Kelly and Donna in the beginning, were we supposed to know who they were, or they just like, did we know who they were, the two guys? Okay.
No, they were just plot devices. That's why I was dumb. Like, excuse, I was like, were you?
I rewound it like 5 times, and I'm like, I don't remember them. Am I supposed to remember them? Like, who were those guys?
Like, I'm pretty sure 2 episodes before that, she was really into Brenda and Brandon's cousin who was in a wheelchair. So
I forgot about him.
Of a relationship.
Yeah.
Wasn't the beginning of season 2 they were still doing those kind of like self-contained episodes too, that they were trying so hard to get people to just, I'm like, not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, even in season 1, there was a few episodes that had flirtations between Kelly and Steve, like the DUI episode when Kelly's like, I don't drink, I sip. She was like going to bed with Steve, and then
I need to use that.
No, she says my mother drinks. She says my mother drinks, I sip. That's what she said.
You have some great lines.
And then they had the Palm Springs episode where Steve and her were all flirty and they're like kissing, and then he's like, Kelly, will you go out with me? And she's like, no.
It was this episode yesterday. We did a podcast on a movie Valentine, and as we're watching this, David was like, Kelly, you want to dance with me? And she's like, no, not right now. Yeah, and then he asked another girl, and she's like, no. I was like, ooh, be careful, girls, be careful.
So what was up with Dylan and not wanting to get dressed up? You think that's just like the cool?
He's just too cool.
Because as soon as, well, I think it was like everything Brenda wanted him to do was kind of dorky to him, girly, I guess. But as soon as he found that, macho man out costume, it's like, ooh, okay. Bonnie and Clyde. I'm down.
I was into the Bonnie and Clyde costumes. I thought that was cute and appropriate.
They were very cute. I wish Brenda would have
Yeah.
had a blonde wig because I would have just liked to seen her with blonde hair.
It probably would have been too many blondes with Kelly and Donna.
I also think it was interesting how, like, it's been 30 years, but how scandalous Kelly's costume was at the time compared to like what you'll see women wear now for Halloween.
I did think it was funny. Like what she did was pre like Mean Girls too. So when she's like, "I'm a witch,"
Yeah,
it made me think of Karen. I'm a mouse or cat. Duh. Yeah.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth because I was like, Mean Girls. At least Kelly had like a shoulder shawl thing covering her.
Right.
They didn't even have that in Mean Girls.
They just had like a nightie. That was it.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because it was like, you know, it had a long skirt, but it slit all the way up to the thigh and her back was exposed. But I mean, compared to like what you'll see women wear now, like it's funny how much has changed and it's been 30 years, but still.
Well, she had so much leg shown. I was like, girl, cover up a little. Like,
I mean, good for her.
Granted, I was about to say, if I had like, no, I was just gonna say, if I had a nice body, I would be probably looking all kinds of. I'd probably be a Mario brother, but just have hat, underwear. I know my brand. I'm all about body positivity.
Listen, in my younger years, a lot of my Halloween outfits were short shorts or like showing leg, and Nana was always yelling at me, "Why?" She's like, "You're gonna be cold." And I'm like, "I don't care. I have to be sexy." She's like, "Why is that the goal?"
I like that she didn't care what you were dressed like. It was just, you're gonna be cold.
She was that one who was like, take a jacket.
She's like, "You gotta get sick." I'm like, "It'll be worth it."
Aw, Nana.
So, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that guy, the cowboy guy. I was like, oh look, Kelly found someone nice that's just gonna, be all fun and flirty, and then nope, had to be a guy.
Okay, did you see the preview that I posted on social media for the episode?
No.
You don't pay attention to anything.
I wanted to go in completely like not knowing anything about it.
Wait, what did you post? I didn't see it.
It was the promo for that episode, and it alluded to something scandalous happening. So now I guess we're into the main plot. Some of it was a little cringy. I feel like it didn't age very well. I felt like there was mixed messages. There was a little bit of slut shaming that really wasn't necessary.
Agreed.
In a way, they were saying nobody has a right to do that to you if you said no, but at the same time, I felt like they talked in circles and said, well, you were asking for it because you were dressed like that.
But then Donna was just like, no, he's a rapist. Who would have thought little O'Donna?
See, Brenda was the one who got me kind of feeling a certain way because in the beginning she was telling Kelly, like, you're dressed like that, you're asking for this negative attention. And then later on in the room told her, well, you said no, so this is not your fault. And I was like, ooh, what's going on here? Because downstairs you were telling her she was asking for trouble. So that kind of got me a little twisted, and it didn't. Yeah. And I agree. I don't think that it aged well with a lot of what was said in regards to that.
So the cowboy, I know. Every time I watch this, I'm like, he looks so familiar, and
what's he from?
I just feel like maybe. I've looked at his IMDb before in the past, and I don't know him from anything, but I just feel like he's popped up in things in the 90s.
He's popped up on something because I remember thinking the same thing.
And so did I. So he had to have been at least like in the background of something we watched.
Some soap opera.
So between his face looking familiar, and it's probably just the costume, but I'm looking at the cowboy outfit and I'm thinking, hey, dude.
Oh.
The TV show. Hey Dude.
Yeah, maybe he was on that. Maybe he was at the Dude Ranch.
He was not, because I've looked on IMDb before
yeah.
and he's not listed. So I don't know. Maybe he's just got one of those faces.
Maybe you're confusing him with the guy from Hey Dude, who was also on 90210. Fun fact.
David Lasker, I think his name is. But
yes.
No, I know who it is.
I don't remember his name. I remember his storyline.
Yeah, he was gay for an episode. On
yeah, and it was like top secret. So sad.
It was actually before this episode. So it was like early 90s.
Yeah.
That's when Kelly was like, I can't believe he couldn't get it. Like, he doesn't want to sleep with me.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I can't get it up for you.
Yeah. Sorry.
I like boys.
I like the outies, not the innies. Got it.
But something interesting, I did recognize somebody, and that was a smaller character. So the guy that was dressed up, I guess, as Robin Hood that was hitting on Kelly, that she turned down.
My dad has and
Yeah.
I've got whiskey.
And then Brenda was like, I guess you really are in control. Like, you can handle it. So I'm like, I know him. I think I know who this is. And I go on IMDb. And he is the guy. He comes back as a different character in season 9 and actually rapes Kelly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting that he's in the attempted rape episode and then he ends up 7-8 years later actually being the rapist. But different character.
I kind of miss that with the 80s and the 90s shows where they would like reuse people as like totally different characters and you're just supposed to completely forget that like you've already met them and you know who they are. And
that would drive me crazy.
It happens all the time.
They didn't think that streaming was going to be a thing. They didn't know like people were going to have the technology to go back and rewatch things from years ago.
Please, soaps still do it today. All the time. Every time I see Ava, I'm thinking Taylor.
Yeah, they also didn't know they were going to have Detective Figueroa on a case. So.
Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. But I did like what Dylan had to say to her. That like it wasn't her fault. And I actually liked how he kind of asked permission to speak on it because he's like, I know you don't want to.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is to hear some guy's opinion or whatever. But so I thought that was nice. That aged well. Asking for consent. Oh, I miss Luke Perry so much.
I know, me too. No, I thought that was a great scene with him and what he said because I thought it was great coming from a man, and I think that was like what Kelly needed to hear and from who she needed to hear it from. So.
And then after they dragged the cowboy out and Steve, so they dragged him out and I was like, wait, they're not even going to punch him? And then Steve punched him because he called her a slut. So after that scene, Kelly and Steve had a scene and he's like, I meant what I said. When, I guess referring to that, I love that girl. And then they hugged and I was like, oh, I kind of wish maybe they would have tried it again.
I feel like I wish that a number of times, like for Steve and for Kelly. Like I think like I just like you see like he really loved her, like he really did, and I just wanted that for him.
I also feel like I have an adulthood newfound love for Steve that I didn't have when I was a child.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually paying attention to Steve, and I'm like, oh, you were kind of a good guy.
He was.
Because first season Steve's a little bit racist, a little bit bigoted, a little bit snobby, but he evolves into like a really good guy.
Yeah, like once you get like past the mullet.
Yeah. Did you guys take notes? I didn't even take notes.
I didn't take notes. No,
I did not take notes. I didn't know there was a requirement. But
oh no, it's just like a new thing I've been trying. But I figured since I watched it right before we started, it was all right.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Something about Emily Valentine just drives me crazy, and I knew that she showed up there on purpose. I knew it was an accident, and like I really didn't remember the episode that well, so it wasn't something that like I had like remembered. I was like, no way, she knew where they lived. And then, lo and behold, Emily
One line that
Valentine.
also stuck out in my head was the little girl saying, "You got lost."
Oh yeah,
I thought Brandon was really cute trying to be all with trick or treating, like at the house.
Oh,
Okay, I
Dracula?
did too.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm really into Brandon in this episode. What is that about?
It was really adorable. You're like, oh, you'll be a fun dad one day.
Yeah.
But then his mom and those raisins.
Mm. Can't give out.
See, I like
What did they say? Nature's
like
candy.
raisins.
Nature's candy.
Yeah.
Nature's candy.
As Thomas, I said it to him all the time in our old place. I'd be like, I'm just having some raisins. Nature's candy.
I like that the kids said it too later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was cute that they were twins. And then I there was one line that Jim said, and it was alluding to it. She was like, well, it's difficult because there's two of them. And then Jim Walsh said something like, yeah, tell them, because like having Brenda and Brandon.
It took me a second to pick up on that because for a minute I thought I forgot that Brandon and Brenda were twins.
It's because of their creepy flirting.
Yeah.
I understand.
I wonder how different the show would have been if Steve and Kelly had gotten back together and the triangle didn't happen. Like the
It
Brenda
would have been a
Jill, and
different
Kelly.
show.
I wonder. You know who else had chemistry? Steve and Andrea.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I always felt that.
Huh. I
Like
don't see it.
the Euphoria episode with the egg.
With the egg, that's the episode I think when I really picked up on it.
Oh, I haven't seen that episode yet, so maybe that's why I haven't picked up on it.
Well,
It's
you'll get there and you'll see the egg and then you'll be like, that's what they're talking about, okay?
It's episode 15 if you want to go back and watch it.
Don't trust him. Don't trust him. Look it up.
Well, if you try to watch it on the streaming apps, it may not be up there because they don't have all the episodes up there. Paramount Plus only had,
No.
yeah, they only had 20 episodes. I was like, there are 28 episodes.
My brother watched the whole series for the first time like a year ago, and I had to check every season because some of them they do have all the episodes, but I was like, oh no, you need to borrow my DVDs.
Do they have the original music on the streaming, or did they replace the song? No.
Most of it's replaced unless they can't replace it for some reason.
But you know what? Recently, well, they at least got their theme song back, Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek. I was so excited.
They lost their theme song?
Well, when the DVDs came out, seasons 1 and 2 has the original theme song on the DVDs, but 3 to 6 does not because they couldn't get the rights.
Wow.
So they have the Canadian one because apparently Canada. I almost said Canada. Canada apparently had a different theme song, so they just used that one. But
it
Netflix
worked.
Yeah, it grows on you. You're pissed for like a few episodes, and then it grows on you. And
next thing you know, you're singing the "Run Like Mad," and you're like, "Oh crap, I like it."
Wait, why? So why do they have different theme songs for different countries?
Music rights.
I don't know. Music rights, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Netflix recently got Dawson's Creek again, and they have all 6 seasons with the original theme song.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
For the purists out there.
Yeah.
But all right, anything else to add on the episode?
Hang on, I'm replaying it in my mind.
I love the house that they have at the party where the house is. Looks like an amazing house.
Yeah.
Kind of looks out of place though for Beverly Hills.
David's blazer was giving me Beetlejuice vibes.
Yeah. Agreed. And I felt really bad for Scott. Poor Scott. He just wasn't ready to grow up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "No, what? You ain't gonna grow up."
Aw.
I'm trying to think if there's any other characters that we didn't touch on of importance.
Did we see Nat when they were at the Peach Pit?
No, I'm rare. I'm always very upset when we don't see Joey Tata.
Nah.
Love Nat. He was the glue that held them all together. Let's give Nat the credit he deserves.
You're the reason we stayed together for 10 years.
Yeah, it was all Nat.
Oh, and Cindy Walsh's tie. It was oddly short. It was like a man's tie, but tiny.
How did I not notice that? I didn't even notice it.
I didn't either.
I didn't notice it until the end when she had chocolate on her face. And then she was like, okay, maybe next year we'll give out candy.
Is it like when Avril Lavigne used to wear a tie, like Skater Boy years, like that type of tie?
Yeah, but maybe shorter.
All right.
It was odd. It was definitely a Halloween decorative tie, but it was just an odd size. She's such a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jim, they are total TV parents.
Yeah.
Did they ever have any issues?
I feel like they. I feel like
Not
they
on
did.
screen.
Okay. Because, all the other
I
parents.
feel like when they left the show, one of them would come back and be like, we're fighting. And
That's what I was gonna say. Didn't Cindy came back and she was like, I'm leaving your father. I mean, she did it in all Cindy Walsh, Minnesota way, but
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
but you're right. Not when they were together. Only when they came back by
Maybe
themselves.
because all the other parents were just so dysfunctional. They're like, we need one sane couple.
Yeah,
Season 1, there was an episode where Cindy's ex-boyfriend was in town and she almost had an affair.
Yes.
And then season 3, Jim had a secretary that he kind of had a crush on, and it was having fantasies about her coming on to him. But that's about it.
Yeah.
And then I remember at one point in season 5 they were babysitting Andrea's baby, and they were talking about possibly having a baby, and I'm like, you're 50 years old and you have twins in college. Why would you start that now?
Also, are you still of childbearing age? What's happening, Cindy? Pull it together.
They pretty much raised all their friends' all their kids' friends. So it's
I know. Do they want to go through all that all over again?
And it'd probably be worse because they would grow up in Beverly Hills.
That's true. They wouldn't have the Minnesota background that Brenda and Brandon had.
You betcha. I don't think that's Minnesota, but I don't know. I've never been up that way.
But yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about the episode. I enjoyed it.
I know
Yeah,
you guys.
me too. No, I haven't watched that in years. I'm glad that I watched that so we could discuss. I forgot about a lot of it, and it was interesting to see a lot of the scenes and how they've aged over the years. So I enjoyed it.
So let's rate it. Let's do letter grade. I don't really want to do numbers. Let's do letters.
Oh, I'm so into number grading right now. I've been watching a lot of Dancing with the Stars. I was ready to pull out my cards.
Fine, we can do numbers. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade it?
I would grade it. I would say a 7.
I would say a 7 also.
3 7s. I was going with a 7.
Oh.
We're very in sync, just like Len, Bruno, and Carrie Ann.
I was in between a 6 and it's not 8 worthy. Sorry.
Right.
Don't be a Derek.
But it's not off. It wasn't awful. I don't know who Derek is. Oh, and Derek Cup or whatever.
Yeah.
His name is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right. So next week we are continuing our spooky season Halloween tribute with, what are we watching? I Still Know, right?
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
So that'll be Monday, which is the 11th. And then Tuesday we're watching Dawson's Creek. Season
Halloween
1.
episode?
Well,
No, it's a Friday the 13th episode, but we did Valentine, so
All right.
everything's up for grabs.
It was a horror film, so
Yeah.
we're loose when it comes to guidelines, I guess.
I can't remember the episode number, but the title is The Scare, and it's in season 1, and it's this is when Kevin Williamson was still with the show, so it should have some Scream vibes in it. So if you haven't watched the episode, watch it and subscribe, and comment. What'd you say?
I was just saying, and then join us to talk about it.
And if you'd like to be a guest, DM us.
Slide in our DMs.
That's for you, Michelle.
I don't know you, Michelle, but it's all Tommy's fault.
All right, so have a great week, guys. We'll see you next time.
And thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming.